we all kind of think we know the deal with sugar, right? It's the bad guy when it comes to gaining weight. But what if that's just part of the story? What if that's a distraction? Today, we're going to investigate what sugar really does to your body and uncover its secret partner in crime, a hidden accomplice that's responsible for damage that goes way, way beyond the number on your scale.
So, to set the scene, just look at this number, 22 teaspoons. That is the average amount of added sugar that people in the US eat every single day, and it's hiding everywhere, in stuff you wouldn't even expect, like ketchup or crackers. But the real story here isn't just about the sugar itself. It's about the silent, invisible damage it kicks off with every single spoonful.
You know, we blame sugar for the obvious things, weight gain, diabetes, heart problems, but the real, deep-down damage, that might actually come from a secret accomplice that sugar brings to the party every time you eat it. It's time to follow the clues.
All right, here's how we're going to crack this case. First, we'll look at the usual suspect and see what it does to your brain right away. Then, we're going to unmask the real accomplice and survey the crime scene. The damage it leaves behind. And finally, we'll learn how to tell the good guys from the bad guys and how to read the clues on any food label.
Okay, first up, let's look at sugar's rap sheet. We've all heard it's tied to huge health problems like obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Those are the big headline-grabbing charges. But they don't really answer the most important question: how? How does this one simple molecule cause so much chaos in our bodies?
The very first clue to understanding how sugar does so much damage is found in the brain. To really get a grip on its power, we have to look at the immediate effect it has, which, is the exact reason we find it so darn irresistible in the first place.
So the second you eat something sweet, it's like a fireworks show goes off in your brain. Your reward circuits get this incredibly powerful signal that basically screams, "Hey, this is amazing, do that again." And that triggers this immediate rush of pure pleasure.
And the chemical behind that feeling? It's dopamine. But here's the crazy part. It's the exact same feel-good chemical that's released by addictive things like nicotine. So yeah, that helps explain why sugar can be so hard to quit. But honestly, this intense craving is really just a sideshow, a distraction from the real crime that's happening somewhere else in your body.
Okay, so beyond that addictive sugar rush, beyond the diseases we all know about, how does the real, long-term, body-wide damage actually happen? Well, it's time to finally unmask sugar's hidden partner, the true accomplice in this story.
And this accomplice has a name: low-grade chronic inflammation. Now, this is not the same as when you get a cut and it gets a little red and puffy. That's your body healing. No, this is different. This is when your body's immune system basically gets jammed in the on position. It's like a fire alarm that just will not shut off, constantly sending out these little distress signals that cause slow, simmering damage to perfectly healthy parts of your body.
So how does sugar pull this off? Well, it's a chain reaction. When you eat a bunch of refined sugar, it just floods your system and completely overloads your liver. The liver struggles to keep up, so it starts converting all that extra sugar into fat. This whole process creates a ton of metabolic stress, which makes the liver send out an SOS signal, a flood of these pro-inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Think of these cytokines as the alarm bells, and now they are ringing all throughout your body.
And with those inflammatory alarm bells ringing nonstop, the damage isn't just in one spot, it's everywhere. This constant state of high alert puts your entire body at risk. And this isn't just about some far-off disease. It could be why you feel tired or foggy or just kind of achy today.
The first crime scene is very often the gut. See, a high-sugar diet just wrecks the delicate balance of your gut microbiome, killing off the good bacteria. This damages the protective lining of your gut, which leads to something called leaky gut. And that breach allows inflammatory particles to literally escape from your gut and get into your bloodstream, turning what was a local problem into a full-blown, body-wide state of emergency.
And that inflammation isn't just physical, it's mental. Research shows these inflammatory molecules can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and cause what's called neuroinflammation. This is especially bad for critical areas like the hippocampus, which handles memory, and the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of your decision-making. And over time, this kind of damage is linked to a much higher risk of developing dementia.
And here's a really crucial point. For people who already have autoimmune diseases where the immune system is already mistakenly attacking the body, a high-sugar diet is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Studies have found really strong links between eating too much sugar and making conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, MS, psoriasis, and IBD a whole lot worse.
But hold on, This doesn't mean you need to be afraid of every piece of fruit you see. Our investigation reveals a really critical clue. Not all sugars are created equal. Where the sugar comes from, well, that's everything.
Just look at the difference here. The sugar in a can of soda is basically a free sugar. It's all by itself, there's no fiber to slow it down, and it hits your system like a bomb. It causes a massive blood sugar spike and a huge inflammatory response. But the sugar in an apple, that comes naturally packaged with fiber, vitamins, and other nutrients. And that fiber, it dramatically slows down how fast your body absorbs the sugar, which prevents that huge spike and buffers the inflammatory hit.
And as this quote from researchers puts it, you have to consider the food source. You really can't judge a sugar without looking at the company it keeps. Context is absolutely everything. Okay, so now for the part you can actually use. How do you become a food detective and spot these inflammatory added sugars that are hiding in your food? Well, the clues are right there on the ingredient label, if you know what to look for. To really solve this case, you have to learn to look past the marketing. Sugar hides behind dozens of different names. High fructose corn syrup is a famous one, but you also have to watch out for things like dextrose and maltodextrin. Even names that sound healthy, like evaporated cane juice or agave nectar, are really just sugar in a clever disguise. And fruit juice concentrate? That's just the sugar from fruit after its bodyguard. The fiber has been kicked out.
And with that, the case is closed. The real villain isn't just sugar, it's the chronic inflammation it brings along as its accomplice. And understanding that connection is your first and most powerful clue. Now that you know how to read the evidence, you can make smarter choices, one food label at a time. So what's the first clue you're going to go look for in your kitchen?